In 5, 4, 3.
Hey everybody, this is Danielle.
And this is Daniel.
And I'm Carla, and we are Hoosier Homicide.
A true crime podcast by Hoosiers for Hoosiers, or for anyone that doesn't know what a Hoosier is.
Whoa. I don't know what a Hoosier is. Do you?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I do.
Great. We don't need to look anything up.
Go to Wikipedia and type in Alabama Hot Pocket,
No, don't do that.
and that'll tell you what a Hoosier is.
Just come listen to us. You'll find out.
Anyway, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram. Our handle is @Hoosier Homicide. You can also download any episode you prefer off of Stitcher, Podbean, iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify.
We tell true crime stories with some random connection to our home state of Indiana, so come listen.
That's what she said.
For the love of God. And for honest to goodness,
Stay out of the corn. Pretty good.
Hello, and welcome to Talkin' Ted.
Brunch with Bundy.
TED Talk.
The Bundy Bunch.
Are you talking Ted to me, Mells?
Talk Ted to me?
This is Jennifer Sandwich of Yikes Murder and Stuff. And today, our guest is...
Mells Bells of Strangeful Things podcast and also American Horror Stream on YouTube live stream about American Horror Story.
Yay, welcome.
Yay!
So we tried to sweaty balls intro it. Hopefully it worked out okay. I don't know if it did or not. But today, we're going to be talking Ted to you. And what this is about, what are we talking about today, Mel? We're talking about Ted Bundy, the new Ted tapes that came out.
Yeah. I think we should talk about the Netflix documentary, the release of Conversations with a Killer, the Ted Bundy tapes, and what effect that has actually had on the population. It's almost like it resurrected Ted Bundy from the grave and somehow thrust him back into the popularity spotlight, which is extremely crazy to me in a lot of ways.
This is really strange because I remember kind of going into the cusp of my adulthood. It's like right after high school is when he got executed. And so my mother and I were super into like watching all the drama unfold. It's like, yeah, fry him.
Yeah.
And everybody was really obsessed with Ted Bundy at the time. And there were a lot of books out. And of course, Anne Rule's book was out, The Stranger Beside Me. And there was a book by a guy named Joel Norris that I think the book's name was called Serial Killer that actually described the kind of the first coining of that term and talked about Ted Bundy also, I believe. I'm not sure I remember it completely, but yeah, so I was very, very I've been death obsessed my whole life. So that was a big deal to me. So it's kind of fun to see that it's coming back along with the true crime genre, which is, back with a vengeance. Yes. But honestly, ladies out there, come on. We've always been into it. That's why Lifetime was invented.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
We all grew up watching Lifetime with our moms, and we all grew up watching these same storylines, which come from true crime. They're all inspired by that.
Right. A lady running from her crazy husband. Valerie Bertinelli almost getting killed every time.
Yes.
The girl from Little House on the Prairie. All of them.
Yep. Yeah. And I think one of my favorite ones, and I hope I'm not representing this Lifetime film. I couldn't tell you the name of it, but I believe it was Farrah Fawcett that was in it.
We're going to check all of this and quiz everybody later.
Yes.
Yes, Farrah Fawcett.
Yes.
That's right.
The very infamous one where she had the crazy significant other. I think he might have tried to burn her in the bed or something crazy like that. Yeah.
I remember a scene in front of a fireplace where she had, this is the one. And we'll put that in the show notes.
Yes. And if I'm not cross-pollinating Lifetime movies, because let's be real, it could be easy to do that considering the genre of those films.
Women are victims a lot of all of Ted Bundy's victims were women. So of course we're fucking interested because we grow up just having our own guardians or mothers or people
Yeah.
around us just saying, be careful what you wear,
Yeah.
be careful where you go,
Yeah.
don't travel in packs,
Mhm.
don't travel alone, don't, everybody's telling you to be afraid of men.
Yes, 100%.
Always.
And it's funny because I was a little bit younger. I was a little on the younger side. However, I have an older sister that was also, like you mentioned, coming of age when Bundy was
Mhm.
electrocuted. All of this stuff was coming out, his actual confessions, things like that. So, of course, my mother was super protective of her, as she was for me, but a little bit more for her because she was older and she was more of what would have been a prime victim, for something like this.
Sure.
Ted Bundy, and it's crazy for me to even think this or say this out loud, but it was such a part of my childhood. I just remember these talks with my mom, but with my sister, but with me too when I got older, because as we all know, it's a tale as old as time. It doesn't matter what year it is or what age group you're in. There's always these dangers out there for, women and men as well. Men are not excluded from horrific crimes, but when you're the mother of a daughter, you want to do everything you can to protect her because women are sometimes seen as more vulnerable and things like that.
Yeah.
Just the whole perception of this kind of person, when you think of someone that you may not necessarily talk to, someone that might give you immediate stranger danger vibes, Ted Bundy was kind of not the mold for that. He was considered handsome. He was charming.
Every account, when I was younger
Yeah.
and I saw pictures of him, I was just like, I don't know, that guy doesn't look that handsome. He kind of looks like a bird. And
Well, yeah.
I know I kind of look back on it now and I look at him and I think, you know what? He looks like Joe Goldberg from that
Yeah.
and Netflix series. He
Yes.
kind of looked like that guy would have been a good candidate to play this. But Zac Efron looks like he kind of fits it generally, but he's almost too good looking. There's something about Ted Bundy that always creeped me out, but that might be because I only knew him from watching whatever court TV or whatever the shit that was on at that time.
Yeah.
And knowing and reading about him and being like, oh, well, he's a creeper because I already know that he's, killed fucking 30 women or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would think of him if I just randomly met him. If I met a rando dude in a suit going to law school, I'd be like, fuck you, douche. I'm not into you. So I think I would have been safe.
Right. He's not my type.
But I drove a bug too, so I'd be like, dude, what's up? Fellow bugs for life,
See, it's almost like, and that's one thing that I've read has been pretty consistent in a lot of the accounts of people that knew Ted, on a personal level, didn't know that he had this life of crime and murder and everything. They kind of knew Ted as a surface person. He almost was that person you could find something in common with, which I think is what made him a super threat.
Oh, he's a chameleon.
Exactly.
Yeah. He would find something in common with you if you were on his radar.
Right. That's the exact thing, is if you didn't necessarily find him attractive, which I'm going to say, pictures of him, I've watched tons of documentaries, as I'm sure you have as well.
Mm-hmm.
He's not my bag. Okay, I'm just going to put it out there. I don't look into his eyes and think dreamboat. However, some women described him that way.
I would think about, can I just put, I don't like to bring politics into anything. It's like, he is a young Republican studying law. He's going to go into politics.
Mm-hmm.
And I just look at him and I'm like, it's Ben Shapiro. He's not ugly. But I'm just like not into that,
Well, exactly.
I'm just not into what this guy's into, but if he's walking around on crutches and he's got his arm in a cast and he's dropping his books everywhere, I'm like, look at this cute little fucker over here.
Exactly. And I think
Let me go save him.
That's exactly what it was. It was like he just knew how to play and prey on the things that he knew people were vulnerable about within themselves, He's
just taking advantage of people's kindness.
I know.
That's the worst.
Which is the scariest thing. So it's like that's the whole not the most monstrous thing about him, obviously, because he is a rapist and a murderer, and a lot of other.
It's all a part of the grand package.
But you're right.
Rapey killer.
You're right. He's got the rapey killer thing down pat. But it's like it's scary to know that if you're by nature a person that wants to help someone else, you see someone that's in distress or whatever it may be, they have a cast on their arm and they need help loading their bike on their VW Bug or whatever, the excuse might have been, then you're like, oh, let me help you out. Just knowing that you could hone in on that vulnerability on someone.
And that's another thing, though. And being a helpful, kind, sensitive person shouldn't be a fucking vulnerability.
I agree 100%.
What the hell?
That's the most fucked up part of it, is that it almost conditions you to be like, I don't want to help this person because what if this person does something to me?
There's an old man falling down on the street. Oh, help me. It's like, I don't know. You look like you might Ted Bundy me. Fuck you, dude.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
Hope
you're gonna
don't get run over.
Yeah, sorry, Pops. You're going to have to try to get up on your own there, okay?
Gramps.
Listen, I'm not taking any chances at this point in my life, okay? Like,
I don't trust this. Yeah.
But that is just the, and during the time when all of this was happening, it's like we just weren't as well versed in these types of situations as we are now. It's like we know all of these horrific things that have happened in the past and we've learned from them. And that kind of forms our mind into, okay, like the decisions you make, the cautions that you might take towards, making a decision. Back then, it was such a different time. And I think that's what is just scariest about it. It was supposed to be a free loving time and hey man, kindness and yeah, I'm gonna, help out my fellow man. And then you lose your life over it. And it's like the injustice of it all.
I want to speak to being a different time too, though, because people knew that there were dangers. People did know there were dangers out there, but there were so many women hitching rides. And it was kind of a time where women's rights were just starting to blossom and flourish. And people were in this fucking streets rioting and, Kent State and civil rights and women's rights and abortion became legal. And during that time, birth control was like just beginning to become normalized.
Right.
It wasn't like women were felt empowered to be able to do more, where they would get into a van with somebody because all of their friends were doing it. Mm-hmm. And you'd hear about somebody disappearing or somebody being murdered. Everybody knew the Zodiac killer.
Well, exactly.
They knew about that. And all of these things were kind of, but the information was not spread around like it is today. Now it's almost too much information. You miss a lot of shit.
Well, exactly.
So you're kind of back to square one when it comes to that.
I agree.
But your chances of getting Ted Bundy'd still to this day are like getting hit by lightning.
Yeah.
That's exactly how they thought of it. So they get in a van with somebody, they're going to make it down 2 miles to the beach,
Yeah.
They're, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of mentality of, it won't happen to me.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to happen to me. So, I mean, it's the same
right.
reason that people we do a true crime podcast, that people will walk home alone from the bar just completely fucked up in a place that's super safe because everybody does it. It's never been a problem before. Now suddenly it's a problem, but also being a problem that it's one person doing it all.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's
100%.
where I didn't realize the disconnect between one place and the other.
Yeah.
But it was thought of as being so far-fetched
mm-hmm.
that one person is a serial killer out here raping, killing everybody, that nobody was even thinking in Utah.
Exactly.
Or Colorado that this was going on. That's up there.
Yeah, I think that was the most fascinating part of watching the Netflix documentary
Mm-hmm.
was actually letting it sink in that news and information was not so widely accessible and known as it is today, and so yeah, there's a lot of disappearances and murders and things going on in Upper Washington, but then
it'd take a week for it to get to a national newspaper.
And by the time that circulates around and the talk starts coming, around, he's already hit up Utah, made his rounds there, and he's on his way to Colorado. And so he's
off to do his other things.
Yeah. And then not even to mention, which I'm sure we'll get into it, but once he got cross country, that's an even larger, scale of information getting spread. It starts at the Pacific Northwest and it travels down the west side of the country, but people in Tallahassee, Florida are,
they had no idea
they had
this was
no
even going
clue.
On.
And
they
so
didn't know this guy was even arrested, or it was not on
they knew
anybody's
nothing
radar
about it.
at all.
Exactly.
And it wasn't national news.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So, and I think that's, God, I hate even saying this out loud because it just sounds gross coming out.
Just say it, man. Just say it.
In his last years of life, I struggle, and I don't want to get into whether he had real remorse or not because no one will ever know that. I don't know if he was capable of it because he said many times, I don't have empathy, but then sometimes he said he did. But the work he did do, like with the FBI for helping them profile, serial killers and things like that, it's almost this whole weird dynamic that was Ted Bundy. I mean,
well, that's the narcissist. That's the ego.
And 100%. I mean,
you're putting a camera and a microphone in front of his face. I'm the most important person in the room, and God, the trial, man.
And, oh gosh,
it's like he was on his game.
Oh, he was in his element.
Yeah, if he wasn't going to be a serial killer, he would have been an amazing politician.
I know, and well, that's the thing that, so many, and it's like, how can you
Nixon tattoos with Roger Stone?
That's right. I mean, the man was just so multifaceted, and I don't know. That's why I find him to be so fascinating, all in his own, because the narcissism did good in some arenas, but it makes you feel really icky to even say that anything to do with him did any good. You know what I mean? It's like
extremely uncomfortable. Yeah,
exactly. So
but that was his thing, that anything that you would look at him on the outside and he was like, oh, good morning, ma'am. Let me help you with this book. Hope you do well in class today. Would you like to study? Oh, that's wonderful. Have a great time. I'm going to go home to my girlfriend and take care of her kid. And
I know.
It's like all of these things is just. That's his whole act.
Exactly.
That's his whole thing. He was such a master of his own disguise.
Oh, sure.
Gosh, I cannot remember the victim who got away.
Oh, goodness. Because she just came out and started, I believe her name is Karen. But she just came out and started talking again since all of this came out.
Yeah, I read a couple of interviews with her, and it's really good. But she was, but she's saying that, this is the girl who was attacked in Florida. She didn't see anything happen. She just got the shit beat out of her by a violent animal. Yeah. But there was another girl who survived that had a handcuff on and she ran away.
Yes.
And she said that everything changed. Like he morphed. He went from one face to another. Like she said, like his whole face changed. Like he looked like a different person.
Yep. And that's scary. Like I can't imagine being in that situation. Yeah. I mean, he coaxed her out to her vehicle, and from what I understand, I mean, she put up a really good fight to him, and that's what saved her life.
Yeah.
And to listen to her speak about how she had the reservations, but then she was like, well, I mean, I don't know if this...
What are the chances?
Exactly.
What are the odds?
Exactly. And then...
Right here in public.
And I just come up to me. Yeah, and I think what happened is he fucked up. What he did was he fucked up because she was fighting for her life, and he handcuffed her, and I think that he either accidentally handcuffed herself to herself, or, he missed the steering wheel or whatever he was trying to handcuff her to, and that's how she got away from him. And that was... and then he went on to, even that same night, go
The same day.
and murder someone. He went straight from that, and he murdered the young lady that was leaving her band recital or something like that at her school.
Yeah, like a choir or something.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, she's going to get her brother or something.
Terrible.
Well, he was so amped up. He was very, he was already in the mindset. Might as well just go with it. Just he's rolling with the Bundy flow.
Yeah, rolling with the Bundy. I like that.
So he's just. The weird thing with him is that I feel like a lot of serial killers like to talk about what they did, but maybe and like some like Otis Toole would kind of maybe exaggerated about his killings, and that's the guy that I think John Walsh thinks killed his son.
Yeah,
and I believe that some rangers in Texas believe that he was not the guy. I don't have any way of knowing that. I'd like to think that he was the guy and they got him, but he just exaggerated a lot. Him and what's his name, Otis Toole and Henry Lee Lucas.
Yes,
those two. Yeah. That they did a lot of exaggerating and saying, "Oh, I killed this many people."
Yep.
Well, at the end, I don't know if you were able to watch the policeman at the end of the Ted Bundy tapes who was interviewed. He interviewed him also right around the night before he was executed.
Right.
Bundy confessed to a lot more murders, and I think some of them have not been found.
Right.
Or like he couldn't remember their names, but for the most part, they think it's up around 30.
Yep.
That are pretty sure 80% on, but it could be more. It could be a lot more. Because what the fuck was he doing when he left? When he jumped out of the window?
Oh my gosh.
From court. And he ran out. Was that the time he just walked out? He jumped out of the window.
He just jumped out of the window, and people saw him jump out of the window of
Yeah.
a second-story window, mind you, of a courthouse, and just sprint away. And no one thought, I wonder why this guy jumped out of this window. Like they interviewed the witnesses. There were witnesses that saw him do it, and they didn't. Of course, they had no inkling that it was Ted Bundy that just jumped out of a window.
What would you do anyways? People get their deer in the headlights like, what the fuck am I seeing? You gotta take time to wrap your head around what's going on.
And to be honest, I don't know if I would try to be the vigilante, that would try to chase him down and tackle him. I would just be like, some crazy guy just jumped out of this courthouse
that way.
I think I'm just going to go get my froyo, and if anybody needs to know any information, I'd be happy to give it to you, but,
I'm just going to walk the opposite direction just in case.
Yeah.
But I think there was a one time where he escaped out of the ceiling.
Yes, that's the
nuts.
second, in the same place. Like, that's what kills me. It's crazy to me that he jumps out of this window, and then he knew that, okay, I'm hiding out in this cabin in the woods. I've got no food. I've got no water. I'm sick. I think in that time period, he had lost like 20 pounds just in this couple of weeks. And he just walked back into town and was picked up. It's just like,
I'm thirsty.
I'm so thirsty.
I'm so tired.
Can I get a hamburger, ma'am? I'm sorry.
Please.
Are you Ted Bundy? Yes, I am. It's like,
He just like walked right back, and he's all smiling when they're walking him back
smug.
up.
Oh man, and that's the narcissism, because then he gets back in to, and it just kills me because they're like, we put him in our most secure part of the jail, we put him in, and the man
we got him for real this time.
Yeah, the man starved himself.
Yeah,
in prison. And then
lost a bunch of weight.
Shimmied up a damn ceiling tile into a jailer's apartment that was right above him.
Right.
And just
there was nobody there apparently.
Walked out the front door of the police station.
How adorable. Just adorable.
You know, and then
That's like the best escape story ever, though. It's just kind of like, oh, here's some clothes and see you later. I stole the car. I'm out of here.
I'm sure he said, all right, good night to somebody on his way out. And it's just like, you know, and then that's when he went missing for the extended period of time and how he ended up in Florida, of course.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this
went to Ann Arbor, Michigan, right? To go to the fucking Rose Bowl?
Yeah, he went up to Michigan to watch his alma mater play. He then, you know, I think because he took a plane from, you know, where he was at, where he escaped, up to Michigan, then then stole a bus.
A train.
He went through every mode of transportation. The man took a plane, stole a car, took a train, then took a bus, you know, and I'm just like, he was all over these places. Yeah.
I remember back in, this is my days of drinking underage, but I remember getting a hotel room when I was like 18. This is around the same time, like 89-ish. Yeah. Well, I guess it was, this is when he was, I'm telling everybody my age. God damn it. But anyways, I was getting a hotel so the kids could like totally party.
Right.
Yeah, I should beep it. And I remember just using like a fake name.
Yep.
Like they didn't even ask me for ID or anything. Mm-hmm. We partied, man. We had the 21-year-old kid, brought some booze, and we had a good time.
And you know what? That's another fascinating thing that, and because back then, licenses didn't have photos on it. So when he was in Florida and he assumed this other identity, it was a piece of cake for him to do it.
Yeah, I had no idea about that. Yeah. I just assumed that driver's license had pictures on it.
It's crazy. Like, it's absolutely crazy because the way that they described in the documentary, and they're like, it literally just is a piece of paper that looks like someone typed up while you're standing there on a typewriter. It had no photo on it, you know, and
literally the 70s, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look at the things that he was into while he was committing the crimes in Washington. The man worked at a suicide prevention hotline. He was actually successful at that. I think he did a stint as an emergency, like 911 type operator for a while. He was on a freaking council for rape victims and the rape crisis and how to thwart, you know, rape happening in the community. And I'm like, this is like he's hiding in plain sight, but it's because he's
hey, I'm the source. I can tell you whatever you need to know, ladies.
And that's why he was so successful at these things, is because he was 100%, he was speaking from his truth.
He knew exactly what to tell these ladies.
But because he was so, a lot of people would describe him as charming, they never thought twice about it. Even after they pinpointed or they put out that this suspect's name could be Ted. And you're like, okay, you know, here, we're calling the, you know, rape council meeting. Ted, are you here? You know, it's like, hello, like.
That's got to be like a really common name.
It
must be.
Yes. And I have to be full disclosure here. I think it's hilarious, but his name was Theodore Robert. My dad's name is Robert Theodore. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
Did you just learn this like recently, or have you always known this?
No, I literally just put two and two together watching this documentary. I don't think it ever clicked in my mind as...
So your dad's like Bizarro Bundy.
But he's like
Bundy opposite.
He's like the polar opposite of this Bundy. But the names are switched and the whole identity is switched. This is the weirdest thing.
He's a good Superman.
I was like, you take two names that kind of today probably aren't as common. Well, Robert is still, but I think Theodore. I always used to pick on my dad because I was like, your middle name is Theodore. You know what I mean? And the odds.
There's a Theo in the Cosby Show.
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean,
but that was again the 80s, you know.
So, but yeah, I mean, and Ted, that definitely was a comment. It just, in hindsight, it's always 2020. Of course, I know all the facts now. I wasn't living back then, you know. So, but it's just I guess that's what's so hard for me to wrap my mind around, is probably because I know all the facts and I know everything that was happening. I try to imagine myself in that time, and just because you knew someone named Ted, that doesn't automatically make them be, in this case it was, but that doesn't automatically mean that they're the suspect in all these killings.
No, and that's the thing. I mean, because what if somebody came up to you today and was just like, hey, there's that, like a newspaper article comes out and it's like looking for a guy who looks like indiscriminately rando looking white guy with rando hair and also name is John.
I was about to say,
Bolo, So.
Yeah, you're like, well, okay, yeah, I'll keep my eyes peeled.
Yeah, there's like 70 of those. I'm staying inside.
Exactly.
I'm never going out.
Right? Like, oh, that looks like the guy at my grocery store. I'm never going back there.
The Lake Samish thing, though, I wanted to talk about that too, because that's. Does anybody know what happened here? The fuck! I know that there was. Am I interrupted? I'm sorry.
No,
I'm like super excited about.
No, please. I am soaking this in. I loved it. Just give me that. Yes.
This was in Washington, also.
Yes, this was the beginnings of his downfalls in Washington.
Yeah, Lake Sammamish. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Two women, and one day.
In one day.
Is this the fuck?
I know.
What the hell?
I know.
He left and then he came back
and took
another.
He left it.
Yeah. He left and went killing, raping, dump body. Came back, killing, raping, dump body.
And you know what? He used the same pickup line. Well, I say pickup. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
He used the exact same trap.
Yeah.
It's just.
And that's how everybody knew that his name was Ted, because they heard him say, "Hey, I'm Ted.
Exactly.
Let's go get robbed, strangled, and raped."
Right. Yeah. Hi, I'm Ted. I'm inviting you to be part of my rape and murder. Would you like to join me?
So it's going to be so much fun for me.
That was him playing up one of his shticks, which was the cast on the hand. I can't do this. I need your help doing this. 2 women in plain daylight
from everybody. They're just going to the bathroom, just taking a pee.
Totally public, like the most what you would think would be the hardest place to do something like this. He pulled this out.
The interview where he said the first girl was still alive, Janice Ott was still alive when he went back to go get Denise Naslund, and he had told Stephen Mushad that Ott was still alive when he returned with Naslund, and that he forced one to watch as he murdered the other.
I mean, I can't. I just.
What's gonna up the ante?
Exactly.
He's already got 2 women. Is he gonna just kill one, go back and get the other, and then kill her? Is he gonna up it? And just watch the fright in the other woman's eyes? It's when people say that they're bored of Ted Bundy, or that he's like a boring serial killer, I'm just like, he's got every point on the curve here.
I agree 100%. I mean,
he's a sexual sadist. He's masochist. He's every point. Cannibalism, necrophilia. He's just got beaten, strangling, raping, biting. He's got it all.
I mean, he washed some of the corpse's hair.
I didn't know that.
Yes, and I think those are the kinds of details that came out in his confession tapes, right? But yeah, he one of his victims, he went back and washed her hair. Another victim, he put a full face of makeup on her. I believe her name was Melissa. He did a full face of makeup on her. It's like, what? And he, I don't want to confuse it, but I want to say it was his killing ground, or the little kind of graveyard, if you would, corpse yard that he had going on in Colorado. Could have been Utah, but it was definitely it wasn't Washington, because he had the kill sites in Washington that he took the girls to, and they found a lot of bodies. He did the same thing in another location, but he admitted to going back to those corpses and spending the night with those corpses, just like out in the open. I mean, I can't fathom
fuck?
that. But
The
yeah.
fuck?
And of course, the necrophilia, he would do that until the rigor mortis was so bad that he couldn't physically do it anymore. I mean, it's just, the man,
Well, and that's another reason for, I think, that they were talking about that he would come back, because the rigor mortis would pass and then livor mortis would set in.
yes.
And it's just like, and I don't want to be, I know I do. I am. It's gruesome, because death, we're supposed to have an aversion to death. We're not
Yes.
supposed to be obsessed with it like Jennifer Sandwich is.
or Mells, I'm just as obsessed.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So we're getting help, everybody. It's cool. But it's
Don't worry about us. Yeah.
We're fine. We have each other.
We channel it in the appropriate ways. Just don't worry about it. Okay.
But it's true. So because rigor mortis doesn't stay like that, you know? And
Right.
you can make, and I've worked in a job where I watched this happen, where you can make it malleable, and maybe he was going back after the rigor mortis was the next stage of decomp was happening.
Yeah.
But people start to smell, and I don't understand how you could think that this would be something fun to do.
I know, and that's just the grossness
incredible.
of it. I mean, yeah, it's like, what, from his younger years, like school age, I would say, because I think he only had a couple of what you would call girlfriends, and then he had, of course, the supporter that he married while he was
Carol.
Yes,
Wasn't it Carol?
and fathered a child with her.
No
while
offense to other Carols, but I'm just going to call her Carol.
and fathered a child with her while he was on death row. But just the lack of relationships. Now, he had the one, Liz, that she had the daughter and he had the long-term
Liz
relationship.
Koppler, yes.
Yes. But the lack of relationships or anything that he had, we obviously know now that's because his lust and his need was in deceased or nearly dead women.
Where did that come from? Because it seems to be that he had a perfectly reasonable childhood.
Well, and that's the thing. He spoke a lot about his views on who he was as a person changed when he realized that his mother was not his sister. So basically, his mother, she did get pregnant out of wedlock. This was in the mid-40s, so this was a very taboo thing then. After she gave birth to Ted, the grandparents took on the role as, this is my child, we are the parents, and then this is his sister, right? So as time went on, and he actually came to realize that his mother had no idea who his father was, and his mother was actually a sister, and the parents that he thought were his parents this whole time were his grandparents. He said that was a turning point for him in questioning kind of like who he was. But does that make you a psychopath? Because by all other accounts, I think from what I've gathered in documentaries about him and reading about him, he did have an abusive grandfather / father figure.
Yeah, really like racist and
really
just very,
But
beat his wife, the whole 9 yards.
But I don't think that he ever hurt Ted. So it's almost like you've got this sort of special kind of case on your hands, because a lot of I think another podcast that I like to listen to, they refer to it as the serial killer soup. He didn't have a lot of that. Now, he did do a lot of with animals, so, killing animals.
Yeah, there was an animal thing.
But he didn't have any interest in arson. He didn't have a necessarily abusive childhood. Now, he might have...
I don't know if he wet the bed, because I think that's
I don't think he was a bedwetter. Yeah.
But I know that his father had abused animals.
Yes.
And I think that when you're a kid and you see somebody being abusive to pretty much everything around you, and then he turns to you and goes, "Hey, son, let's go fishing."
Right.
It's kind of like, oh, I'm special.
It's a conditional
And that's
thing,
a normal
exactly.
thing. That's a normal thing to treat everybody else like that.
Yep. Yep, 100%.
Women, cats, anything that's smaller and less powerful than me. That's, and that's, love you, Dad. Love you, Gamp.
Thanks.
Gamp.
Thanks, Gramps, Dad.
Yeah.
Dad, Grandpa.
That's a grandpa I would not help.
No.
No, I'm going back to this because I would not help Bundy Grandpa.
Yeah.
Fuck him.
Fuck
that guy.
you, Bundy Grandpa. Yeah.
Dude, you kick a dog, you take a cat by the tail and swing it around. Fuck you, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I better just hug my cat right now. God, I love Steve so much. He's the best.
Yes. Hugs to my beautiful pets that are downstairs so they don't disturb me while I'm recording. But
just sitting here sleeping like a good boy today. So.
But yeah, I mean, and that's why I say a lot of it is the conditioning of the person. I mean, he grew up seeing that, but his grandfather wasn't necessarily abusive towards him. So in his mind, he's seeing this father figure that, you know, not necessarily aggressive towards him, aggressive towards, women and aggressive towards animals, but he didn't inflict pain on him. So a lot of the things that they look for when they're trying to profile serial killers or psychopaths, anything like that, he didn't fit the bill except for the animal part. And that was something that he just directly grew up seeing. I think in other cases, like Jeffrey Dahmer, for example, I don't think that he was going home to a family that was sitting there abusing animals, you know? So
no, it seems like Lionel pretty much had his shit together.
Right. So I think when it comes to the animal part of it, that was just a nature thing that he saw happening. Just didn't have the components that most other serial killers or psychopaths have.
That's why I was wondering if there was a physiological thing going on with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if anything was. Did he get an MRI? Did he get a CT? Do we have anything like that?
I don't think they did anything like that on him, and that's a missed opportunity in my opinion.
Right.
Now he was electrocuted, which makes me wonder if that would, and I have to apologize here. I'm a novice when it comes to electrocution or, execution by death chair. But because the volts are administered through the head, I don't know if that would have, I want to say scrambled up because that does something to your
brain.
Right. It does something to your organs. So I don't even know if they would have been able to salvage much from that, to be honest. I mean, if someone dies of natural causes and you do these types of things, or while they're alive, they let you do MRIs and things like that to study their brain, you get that type of information. But for him, I don't think there was anything like that, and they electrocuted him. So even post-mortem, I don't think they would have been able to bring anything to the table about that because his internal organs were jelly, for lack of a better term.
I don't know a whole lot about that either. I know it seems like an incredibly painful way to die, which in his case, kudos to them.
But
good
I
for
have
you.
no sorrow for him.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, a guillotine would be too kind. But I always wondered about why did Florida decide that fuck you, Colorado, fuck you, Utah, fuck you, Washington, we're going to execute him. Why did they get all of the power to say we're going to go ahead and execute you? And when he had all this additional information that he could have gotten, and I think that there were victims in all of those other states that never received, they didn't get to have the justice, but then I guess also Ted Bundy didn't get the press of getting to be extradited to these other states.
Yeah.
Obviously, he probably doesn't want to go back to Aspen for anything because he'd be like, now's my chance.
Exactly.
I
mean, they may have been like, let's let Florida handle it. I mean,
right. I didn't really follow up on that.
Yeah.
On that part to be what happened with it. So if anybody's listening knows what happened, feel free to reach out to me on the Twitter and let me know what the fuck happened, man, because it seemed like he was going to give up some more information about bodies and stuff, and then Florida was like, nah, fuck that, see ya.
And
we're out of here.
To be honest, what he got convicted on was not even, I mean, he didn't get the full scope of the 30 plus homicides that he committed.
No.
He was prosecuted and tried and convicted and everything on some of the Florida only
the little girl, too.
And then I think the Chi Omega girls.
Yes.
I almost wonder, well, they got the evidence. They've got everything they need sitting right there in front of them. If we let them go ahead, because he licked his own envelope. Even though his courtroom antics might have made for good TV, he's the one that killed himself.
Oh, yeah.
He sealed his own fate. He was erratic. He was crazy and tried to make, personally, I think, a mockery of the system. Thankfully, he wasn't able to convince anyone that he didn't do these things.
He had a very serious mental health issue.
Yes.
But he was one of those people. Remember, when people have these mental health issues, some of them become fucking doctors, brain surgeons, and they're just amazing in their, and no empathy. They don't have empathy for other people, but they don't go out killing.
Right.
And sex isn't associated with violence to them for whatever reason.
Exactly.
Like they don't go through that transformation. They just become incredible thinkers sometimes. Right. I mean, because people who have these similar traits as Ted Bundy have, they're all very intelligent.
Okay, he did his own defense, right? I mean, we all know about his whole deal with his trial and everything. The fact that the judge sat there in front of him after he sentenced him to death and said to him, I hate doing this because you have such a bright mind, and I would have loved to have had you in my courtroom arguing cases, goes to show you that
I'm over here rolling my eyes so hard.
Oh,
Tiskin and Tiskin.
I know it was jaw dropping for me, because I'm thinking to myself, you just listened to all these horrific things that this man did. And while I guess I can appreciate you maybe trying to see the silver type lining, or maybe see what's underneath all of that. Like, if you weren't a violent sexual predator, you probably could have been a very bright star. You could have been a politician. You could have been an attorney. You could have done these things. I mean, unfortunately, that's not the path you took. But it almost shocked me when I watched the footage of the judge saying that to him, because I thought, how can you even... You may think it, and that might be something that might be on a lot of people's minds, but I don't know how you could actually say that to him, because that just fed his ego so much more.
That just seems like such a toxic male thing to fucking do. Is to basically go, now listen here, Sonny.
Exactly.
Little me, you could have been like a little me.
Exactly.
He was probably an egomaniac too, that judge. You know?
You're right.
And you know the South, too, because especially back in the day, the South had a way of treating certain people a little bit differently than other people.
100%. 100%.
And if you are a white Christian Republican male, it doesn't matter how many women you tore apart and raped to death. You are still... Would have loved to have you in my court. Are you fucking kidding me?
I know. I mean, that
guy had the most punchable face I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I would not be ashamed. I would punch a judge. I'd punch that judge on the street.
I'd punch that old man right in the face. I don't care.
Right in the nose, yeah.
It made this response in me of just sickness. I got sick to my stomach listening to that, because I thought, how could you even give him any type of praise? Because I watched the courtroom proceedings, and I think the man was nuts, and I don't think that he did any kind of good job representing himself.
His own, when he's questioning the detective who found the bodies of the Chi Omega women, I'm just like, who the fuck is this guy? How come? Who is not objecting to this?
No one is saying a
Who's
word.
not objecting to this? But it's almost like they're just trying to, we're going to let you hang your own rope here. But
I think that's what they were doing. I honestly do. But at the same time, how
women's mothers were in the in the audience.
How can someone not stand up and be like, okay, like, this is enough? Do you really need to know when you walked in there what position her right arm was in? We don't know. Like, stop feeding your ego.
Where are you going with this?
Yes.
Right. I'm not even an attorney, and I'd be like, objection.
Yes. And
I'd just be badgering the witness. Sit the fuck down, bitch.
Yes.
I mean,
and it's just...
Stop talking.
And you could tell the detective was like, okay, listen, I mean, I've said it like 300 times. I could not tell you every nook and cranny and every single thing. I mean, I just walked into a sorority house with brutally murdered women in there, and you're asking me to continuously go over in gruesome detail. Where
he was reliving it.
Yes, and you could just and you the footage of his face while that detective was talking, it was sickening to me. And that's why I say I'm sure in the back of their minds they were like, let this fool hang himself, because that's what he was doing.
There's already so much evidence though. But I mean,
where does the decency step in for someone to be like, that's enough, okay?
Yeah. And the thing is, it was broadcast all over the place too.
So,
I watched the whole thing, or I watched the documentaries of the whole thing. It's like, I mean, again, like you said, it was a part of my childhood. Mm-hmm. And at that point, it was like stranger danger. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Don't trust anybody. We went from running around the neighborhood like crazy kids, walking a mile to the store, stealing candy from the store. We were hoodlums.
Just those normal childhood antics,
normal childhood shoplifting. Yeah. So, but then we'd come back, and I remember people saying, "Oh no, child abductors! Oh no," because like Adam Walsh thing had happened.
Yep.
And people were just kind of afraid of people picking their children up. And as the information became more cohesive and people started to contract each other, and there started, news wires became connected on a national level, people started seeing these stories. If it bleeds, it reads, man.
Yeah.
It's gonna come out. This kid was kidnapped. This kid was killed. This person was, this happened. And you can see it in the 80s, the swell of news, a 24 hours news service.
Yep.
Who knew what this was? CNN?
Yep.
What the fuck is that?
Exactly.
And now we have so many 24-hour news services that it's out of control. There's so much information out there. It's hard to pare it down to find out what's more useful to you and your community than it is to, you're looking around and like everybody's murdering, raping everybody up in here.
I mean, you're right. Like, and a lot of people say, oh, these times we're living in. I mean, I do not think this is any different than what's been going on. It's just we're so saturated with every single thing that happens. And while that...
We're not taking the chances that we were taking before either. And also, future serial killers were probably not being inspired either.
Well,
I mean, who knows what decisions are being made in the minds of people who already have a mental health issue that is not being addressed.
That's not being treated. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So can I switch it up because we are over an hour?
Okay, yes.
What do you think about this movie that's coming out? What is it called? It's like a really long, it's like term extraordinary. What is
it? Extremely wicked. Let's see. Extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile. All right, the first time I heard of this, running project, and I'm not going to lie, I was excited that there was going to be a Ted Bundy. Now, this was back, when the buzz first started, not today's buzz, but...
Like, I didn't even know that the Tate thing was coming out. I just heard about this movie.
Right, so...
And I was like... I turned on Netflix the other day and I'm like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I know what I'm doing this flu day after work.
Exactly. Well, I know what the next 4 hours of my life are going to be dedicated to.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not going to lie. I was and still am interested in what they're going to come out with. Now, when I saw this title for the first time, I thought, oh, this is just the headline to this article, right? Like, it's like, oh my gosh, this is extremely wicked, it's vile, right? Then I realized that's the name of the movie, and I was like, for some comedic relief here, I'm thinking to myself, if I'm going to go to the theater and see this, well, I have to shorten this. I'm like, just give me 2 tickets to the Ted Bundy movie. I'm not fixing to rattle off 6 words to you for the title of a movie. I don't know. Of course, I've read all the buzz about it. I've read a lot of the, everyone's like, I'm kind of shocked over how Ted Bundy's are all of a sudden coming back onto the scene, and it's because of Zac Efron. And okay, I'm going to be honest. I think that Zac Efron's hot. Okay, I have a pulse, and for me, that pulse is driven by good-looking men.
Yeah.
He is my bag. Ted Bundy is not my bag, but Zac Efron is my bag. Now, what I think they cast him on is they do look shockingly similar. And I'm just going to assume, of course, I haven't seen the movie. I've only seen the trailer, but I'm going to assume that he did a great job in the role. Now, I'm
reading something different, actually.
Oh, really?
But people can identify with Zac Efron. He's been in a lot of people's favorite films, you know?
That's
so
the thing.
Everybody kind of comes into this with like, oh my God, I love Zac Efron.
And that's the thing that people are upset about. Now, and I get it 100%. Like, I totally understand it because, like you just said, Zac Efron's, he's hot. He's been in a lot of your favorite movies. He's been that love interest or that romantic, character. And it worries me and a lot of other people about what the takeaway from the film is going to be because of the person you cast to portray this monster, right?
Right.
Some of the things I've read on the film is they're trying to shed the light on what the facade that he put up, which I can, I guess, appreciate in a way, but we have to also when we present things like this in the media or whatever, we have to make sure that we do it the correct way because, for instance, I watched this 2002 film called Bundy.
Okay.
I recently watched
gotta look this up.
Yeah, I recently watched it. I don't think it got a lot of favorable reviews. And what I actually enjoyed about this, now,
was it just called Bundy?
It was just called Bundy.
Was it like in the theaters or was it like a Lifetime movie? Because it sounds like a Lifetime movie.
Well, I couldn't tell you if it was in the theaters or not, but it is just called Bundy. I found it on... Oh, excuse me. No, it is Ted Bundy. You're right. I'm sorry. It's Ted Bundy, yes.
Because I'm trying to find the website for it.
So
I just wanted to see.
It's called Ted Bundy. It was made in 2002. It's got a 41% on Rotten Tomatoes. The movie is currently on Amazon Prime, so that's how I actually stumbled across it.
Oh, no kidding.
And I watched it yesterday. And I have to say, what I didn't like about the film was that they took a lot of liberties with the facts, meaning they didn't do it very historically accurate. They just didn't make it very factual. They made it more into a movie type thing, which is fine, loosely based on Ted Bundy. Let's put it that way, right? Like they took the premise of what he was and what he did, and then they made a movie about it.
What a missed opportunity.
Well, that's true. What I liked about the movie, no offense to the actor, but they didn't have an incredibly good-looking man playing Ted Bundy. Okay, that's number one. Number two, they actually played upon his awkwardness, his deviant desires. They really actually played upon the real Ted Bundy and not so much that charismatic front that he put on. I think in this new film, they are taking the approach of it being more of a perspective of this was the Ted Bundy that people knew. They didn't know the monster that was inside of him. And while I'm kind of interested to see how that plays out, it's a very slippery slope to me because you also want to make sure that you accurately represent the reality of the situation. So if the whole thing is romanticized, I've read some things like that's what it is.
Yeah, well, and when you have Zac Efron playing it, and you see him playing with a little girl and being a good boyfriend,
yeah,
it's kind of like. Did you watch? You watched because I know you did because you wrote an article on Superficial Gallery about it.
I did,
and I actually commented, so I'm really glad because I wanted to make this comparison. I liked it. Okay, I am so pissed off about every woman character being so fucking flawed and lacking any kind of depth whatsoever.
100%.
That show was not about you. That show was about Joe.
Yeah.
That show was about Joe Goldberg and nothing else. It was just like, look at Joe. Look at these guys. Oh, man, it's just so tough for these men in this world these days. And it's like, okay, girl, why don't you have curtains? What is going on? Everybody has, every woman is a flawed character.
I binge watched it, so I watched the whole thing in one day.
I did too. I loved it.
I was obsessed with it.
I terribly loved it. I hated it. I loved it.
I loved it, just like you said, and I was pissed off at the whole thing at the same time because, like you said, who doesn't have curtains when you're on the main floor of a apartment building or whatever?
Why is the only LGBT character in there a complete psychopath, just like Joe?
Why are you painting that? I didn't appreciate that.
What?
I'm not even going to get into the whole she has a sexual encounter and then pleases herself in front of a huge open window while this man just watches outside.
Oh my God. It almost had this like air of she's asking for it.
100%, and that's what I did.
Did you get that too?
Like.
Okay.
Okay.
I was like, girl, what? What is this?
I didn't.
You know?
I don't like the way that they painted I don't like the way they painted Joe. They tried to, and they did actually. They romanticized.
They humanized him so much more than every other character.
Psycho, right? And what made me mad is the elements to the movie where everything was for her, and he was trying to better her by killing the druggy, crazy boyfriend. Did
you know that she benefited from everything that he did?
And I didn't like that spin on it, right?
Isn't that... Wait, it pisses me off.
And then in the end, and I will tell you this, because should I say spoiler warning? I'm just going to do a spoiler warning
here.
This
is a spoiler, guys.
If you have not watched
fast forward.
You don't want to hear this, go past this part. But the thing that I really disliked the most was that we were led to believe this whole time that that Beck was not his first victim. And then at the end, Bunny shows up. I forget her real name, but
What is her? Oh, right. Candace.
She shows up. Now, this whole time...
Is he imagining it? Is it... The whole thing, it was the fucking mess. The end was a fucking mess.
That's the thing.
They could have done so much more with it.
And it killed me because you're right. I mean, questions could be raised. I don't know. Was it imaginary, or did she really just leave because she knew he was crazy, but she's the one that quote unquote got away? I mean, she left him and left the country and went to Paris, et cetera, and then she shows back up after all of this comes out about, Beck's death.
We got some unfinished business, me and you, buddy. It's like, what?
It kills me, though, that it's like, so you just actually did the same thing that you've been doing throughout the movie, but almost solidified it for me, where it's like, oh, Joe didn't even kill her. Like that's kind of what you're left in your mind. Now, at no point during this series, I'm going to go ahead and say, did I ever feel anything for Joe. I never I saw a lot of people where they were like, people are feeling sorry for him, and I'm like, what? I don't feel sorry for him. I don't buy into that whole charade or whatever.
Right.
And,
well, spoiler alert, he's got the heroine locked up in a basement when he's up with her friends.
I know.
Being like, well, I don't know if she loves me. And they're like, oh,
I know.
Oh,
I know.
Of course she does,
I mean,
and that little, what is that little Oliver Twist kid in the stairwell? It's
Paco.
just like, what the fuck, man? Are you serious?
I mean,
and what the hell is up with oh my God, every character in there, I'm just like, this, we could have turned this whole thing around if we just had one strong female character. Just
Thank you.
Just one.
Thank
but
you.
No. And then I heard that the book was pretty much kind of that exact story, kind of, not exactly, but I guess it ended that way.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but I don't know if it ended with the other woman showing up again, but it's just kind of like, am I going to watch the second season of this? Of course I am.
Yes, 100%.
Don't be ridiculous. I'm absolutely going to watch
I'm not
it.
going to sit here and lie to anybody and tell you I'm not going to watch it because I'm going to.
Watch this fucking trash? You bet I am. But the thing is that if this show's back up and it's like all of a sudden like Joe wakes up in the bed and like there's Beck laying beside him, I'm going to be like, fuck that. I'm out of here. I'm going to throw my controller against the TV and I'm never talking to Netflix again. So
I guess I have to say they did a good job of playing on people's emotions, meaning they did, even though I thought it was garbage.
It was a Lifetime movie, you know.
Yes,
it was a Lifetime series.
It was Lifetime before it was Netflix. Let's all go ahead and
we can't forget that. We didn't see Valerie Bertinelli in it.
Do not forget that.
That's okay.
It irked me that they humanized him, and to give some type of credit, they did it, and that's what made me furious. This whole thing where he gets in the relationship with the other girlfriend after Beck, and he's fine. He's not doing the same things to her that he was doing to Beck.
You know what? Karen was pretty much my favorite. She was my favorite one. I'm just like, watch your Bachelor. Paint your toenails. Yeah. Do you, Karen. You come, you know what? Come stay with me. Get away from these fucking crazy people. Yep. Karen was the only one that had any sense in this whole.
100%. But he was obsessed with, I guess that's the thing, is he was obsessed with Beck. And so when she came back around, then it all started back up for him.
Yeah. So this is what I worry about, is that's fiction. This is fiction. Yes. There's a real big difference between that is, suspense horror. Mm-hmm. We're talking about suspense nonfiction. Yes. Things that happen in real life and things that have been, and I'm just going to come out and say it to everybody here. I have had an attempted kidnapping by a stranger, and it is not a joke. It's that shit stays with you for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. Now, if this movie tries to come across and be like, let's humanize this dude, it's just like, I know. Everybody wants to know what causes a serial killer to do what he does, and they want to know, or she, and they want to know how this person can live a life with this different mask on, where everyone thinks, "Wow, what a great guy! You always think you're such a great judge of character. You've known somebody for years, and oh my God, it's Ted Bundy. Yep. What the fuck? Everybody wants to know what causes someone to do that, because that curiosity stems from a place in your brain that you can't wrap your head around. Right. You don't understand it. Now, if you're sitting here empathizing with the guy and who's going to be watching this? And this, again, killing serial killers, they're romanticized. I have a comedy show about murders that happen, and I get it. And it's people are very obsessed with this, but what we don't want to see either is that a courtroom filled with women who are like, I love bad boys.
I know.
I feel sorry for him. All he needed was the right lady. Yeah. You can't fix it, ladies.
No.
You cannot fix it. If you fix yourself, stay away.
If truth be told, he had that with Liz. He loved her. He had that whole thing. So it's like another fascinating aspect to Ted Bundy was the female attention that he drew in, and a massive amount of women that wrote him letters and saying, I'm in love with you and I don't believe you did this. And that's a real fear of when you also put out a biopic or something like that about something that's nonfiction. What does that do to your thought process when it comes to really processing what type of people they are?
We're big girls. We can recognize that he is going to be smiling when he hits a woman across the head with a crowbar. 100%. He's going to be having a good time. And it's going to be so amazing. And she's going to be bleeding out of her head. And she's going to be in the most terror of her entire life. But I can put myself in that position too. Right. Some people are going to be like, well, yeah, everybody's got something. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm afraid that putting something out like this is, when you're humanizing an actual dog that needs to be put down, excuse me. Mm-hmm. So if the dog bites, you put it down.
Right.
That's how we get domesticated animals.
Right.
That's how we have dogs in our lives, because of a lot of dogs being put down.
Yeah.
And this is a human that needs to be put down because he can't function in society because he's taking people out.
He might be cute. He might be, oh, this cute little pup. Oops, he bit me a few times. Or, same thing. This, is he just
One
this
day he's
misunderstood
take your
guy?
Kid's face off,
Exactly, right. Is he just this misunderstood guy that if he had the right kind of intervention, because I know later in his life he played upon sexual perversion as a motivator for him.
I can fix
things.
it. I can change it.
Yes.
I will love him so much he'll never think of that again.
Right. And
I don't know what these women are thinking.
the grim
Maybe they
reality,
just wanna be on TV.
I mean, well, that too, but the grim reality is, girl, you ain't changing him.
Mm-mm.
Okay, a
That
leopard.
goes for everybody.
Yeah, a
by the way.
leopard don't change its spots. Okay.
No, everybody is going to be who they are on the inside. Is always going to be that person.
Yeah.
You can change your behavior, but you can't change who you are.
Right.
You just can't.
Right. And
But
this
that's
this
another-
was Ted Bundy. Like, this Ted Bundy was not this charismatic, cute, quirky guy. Ted Bundy was a serial killer, rapist.
He bit someone's nipple off.
Yes, like, this is the reality of it.
Imagine that.
For some reason in my mind, I've always been terrified of something happening to my nipples. So
Oh
when
my God.
when I hear
Nobody
things,
wants that.
no, I mean, like, it's some kind of weird thing in my mind where it's like, I sometimes I will randomly have thoughts and I'm like, oh, it makes me sick to my stomach.
Oh man, it's really like, it's so insane to think of all the things that he did while these women were still alive.
Yep.
I mean, he was a torturous motherfucker.
Yep.
He was just absolutely horrible. And he really wasn't that good looking. But I can't, like, I kind of look at him and I always think, something's off with that guy.
Well,
but he's not my type either.
He's not my type. He's not my
I'm
bag.
not the suit kind of person.
I'm not
and
into that, right?
I don't like people who are just like, hey, look at me. I am outwardly charismatic. And I'm always skeptical. I'm like, what are you like on the inside?
Exactly.
But again, I probably read too many serial killer books.
Well, as someone who's
which is
obsessed with true crime, I'm suspicious of everyone. So just, I will be suspicious of you if you are literally a saint. I will be like,
too good to be true.
No, something ain't right here. Yeah,
everybody's got a secret.
But
well, I want to actually kind of wrap it up a little bit because we went a little longer than I wanted to, and I don't feel like there's anywhere I'm going to be able to cut out of this. So
I think you can cut some stuff out. But anyway,
well, thank you, Bells, for joining me today. Lisa Sweatshirt couldn't be here. Her car didn't start because it is approximately negative 55 wind chill degrees out in Minneapolis right now. Would you like to plug anything, my dear?
Yes. Well, I want to say thank you for having me on.
Thank you. I wanted to talk about this.
Yes. One of my favorite topics is obviously true crime, and another one is Ted Bundy. He's just always been up there for me. So thank you for allowing me the space to air out all of my Bundy grievances.
Could have gone on longer, much longer.
Yes. Now, I do work on superficialgallery.com. So if you want to head over there, check out some of the articles that we've written, put out a lot of horror based materials. We do true crime in that as well. Anything that is horrific, we will pretty much cover.
It's Women in Horror Month.
It's Women
coming up also.
Yes, it's Women in Horror Month. So if you or anybody you know is wanting to celebrate women in horror, please get over there, fill out a form, get yourself a trading card, and get yourself out there in the public eye so we can learn more about you.
And this is a trading card of you.
Exactly. It's your very
Acadia will
own.
make it for you.
Yes, it's your very own trading card. I am part of Strangeful Things. We will be, there will be more on that later. We're kind of working on the groundwork for that. And then when it is American Horror Story season, Acadia and I do host American Horror Stream. That's a live YouTube stream that we dedicate to American Horror Stories. So once that rolls back around, we'll be picking back up with that.
And that's on YouTube.
That's on
Superficial
YouTube.
Gallery on YouTube.
That's right, Superficial Gallery on YouTube. Go ahead and go over there, subscribe, click the notification button so you know when we've uploaded new content. I want to congratulate you on killing it in the podcasting world.
Oh my God, no, we're not killing anything.
Yes, you are. And
no, trust me, we're not Ted Bundying this just yet.
Well, killing it in a good way right now. And it's been
who knows what tomorrow will bring. Though the week is young and it's very cold.
This is true. The cold makes you do things.
The night is dark and cold.
And it's been an honor to be featured on your podcast with you. So thank you again.
Good. Well, we are at Yikes Murder on Twitter, so come visit us over there. And we're very sorry about the whole episode getting missed this week. Hopefully this will do it for now. We're going to try to get something recorded in because me and Lisa have been so sick. And obviously Acadia. Then we had some technical difficulties on top of it. Then the weather, and then Lisa couldn't get her car started. There's a lot of excuses we have for not getting a show out. But
would you
thank you,
say
Mells.
it's been a snowball of wow. Is that not the best way to end it?
Yeah, I suppose we could go with that. But I don't have anything else to plug. I don't think. Oh, if you like us, go to our Patreon and give us some money. That'd be just super great. We have swag coming in. We've ordered some things, but it has not come yet. And hang in there, my two amazing Patreon people, Justin and Casey. Guys, just love you guys so much. And I'm super sorry about having a late episode and not having a good episode. But we are going to send you guys both something because y'all have been like super supportive. And we really appreciate everybody who's listened. And thank you for hanging in there again today. And when Strangeful Things comes out, go listen to it, folks. And if you want to catch up, check out Parsons because Jennifer Sandwich is on it.
There you go. Yes.
All right. Well, our theme music is by the Batman and blah, blah, blah. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.